So despite being a known sports anime girly, I somehow missed the whole entire Blue Lock hype until last week, in which I proceeded to binge and finish everything in a few days, right in time for Blue Lock episode Nagi. So for those who don't know what Blue Lock is, it's a soccer anime, except everybody is basically ego maxing in order to make Japan's soccer team not shit, because Japan's soccer team really sucks right now. And how do we do this? We put them into a crazy training camp prison type of situation where they have to fight to be the top one. Also, by the way, if you get kicked out, you're forbidden from joining the national team ever. So, you know, lots of things at risk right now. It's really crazy, it's really full of action, and if you really just accept it as what it is, don't think about it too much. It's really a hell of a fun ride. If you do plan to watch Blue Lock at any point, I probably would advise you to stop right now because 70% of this movie is low-key a recap movie. So if you're okay with that, we're gonna get into a little bit of spoilers. So at the beginning of the movie, we're pretty much back into the moment in the anime where Reo discovers Nagi as his shiny little treasure and how he manages to convince, and by convince, I mean like kind of coerce Nagi into joining his soccer team, with members of the team definitely bribed. Fucking rich kids. Anyways, we get some development with Reo as he kind of talks about his struggles with his family expectations, but that's also kind of touched upon in the anime. And this is kind of shown where his father decides to basically schedule the best team in the area in order to discourage him. Perfectly healthy family dynamic, by the way. But obviously, like with Nagi now by Reo's side, because Reo's like, oh my god, shiny new treasure, I'm gonna make sure you work your ass off. And Nagi half the time is just like, I'm tired, please. They easily manage to beat that team's asses and they win every other tournament in the next 6 months. Generally speaking, it doesn't really add too much to what we know about the characters, except that like Nagi is really addicted into video games and how Reo is really rich, because going back to at first, the way he like convinces people to join his soccer team is by promising them that if they get into nationals, that he'll allow them to like go on like dates or have party with like idols or these actresses. And I'm like, you're that rich. Almost made Reo a little less likable to me. It does really develop Reo and Nagi's relationship, how they really work together as a team, because kind of the main thing between them is just that they kind of just accept who they are as each other. Nagi is just like, oh well, like I'm really tired all the time, I'm kind of lazy. Reo just accepts me for that, and it's just fun to hang out with him, and that's kind of how like they work together. Like he gives him like piggyback rides at practice. Nagi's just like, okay fine, I'll like do the practice, and you know, like he's not necessarily having fun, but he's just like kind of going along with it, and he likes hanging out with Reo. And they talk a lot about how they're gonna be able to do nationals together and how they're gonna do things together, and you know, just really normal things that you casually say to your bro. After that, we pretty much see Reo and Nagi get their invitations to Blue Lock, in which Nagi doesn't give a shit. And I would say that this is one of the more interesting scenes. He is so nonchalant about the whole entire thing. In fact, he hears like Ego's whole entire speech and is like, I want to go home. Like, this is honestly so much work. I literally don't care about soccer that much. And Reo has to do this whole entire speech, which is like, us two can make it into like, you know, the best striker. And Ego's like, I just listened to like a single thing I said. Like, I said, one of you. You know what Reo said? Reo's like, you know what? You don't understand how I feel about Nagi, and like you don't understand how great Nagi is. Like Nagi's not your regular genius. You know what? I'm gonna make him into the best striker. It's gonna be me, and like I'm gonna make him best of the best, and we're gonna do this together. Once again, ignoring the fact that Ego's like, you had to destroy the other 299 players. Not important anymore, because they're really decided to be together and promise each other as they're going into Blue Lock. They're like, we're gonna be together the whole entire time. It's awkward. It's almost sad because like if y'all watch the anime, y'all know what's to come. A really intense breakup. Next, get into the recap selection. So it pretty much starts the same way that we see in the anime with Isagi. This is kind of where Reo and Nagi get to know Santetsu. They kind of start by calling each other stupid, but we'll get into that part later. There is one of the members from one of the teams that his dad made him go against at the beginning, and he's like really annoying and cocky, but he in the end gets humiliated, kind of like Kira does in Isagi's side. So you know, in the end it was all worth it. It was also really interesting here because Ryo ends up actually almost getting hit by Santetsu at the end. And Nagi at that point he's just sitting on the side. He's just like, whatever, like, I don't care. Like, if I get kicked out, I get kicked out. Like, he kind of still doesn't really want to be there. But, because Ryo is almost caught, Nagi literally just steps in front of him and it's just like, hey, like, I need him to be here with me. And I'm just like, and it kind of just really reaffirms the relationship that they have at this point where like they kind of like really need each other. It'd be really tragic if that really goes away later on. But this is also kind of when we go into kind of a more hardcore recap mode. So for me, since I just recently finished Blue Lock, I was like, okay, I guess we're just kind of reviewing the hype moments that I just watched. But I was kind of okay with this because they had like really hype music and OSTs to go along with it. So it kind of just plays into montages and even like the same scenes and with the same animation played back to us with a few like additional Nagi inputs. We also, like I said earlier, get a Santetsu backstory, which is best summarized as, I'm just really dumb, but I'm really good at sports, so it's really all I have. And then Nagi basically calls him cool once, and he's just like, oh my, you know what? Like, I have here people that call me cool, and now I'm motivated, and that's really all it took. Like, sometimes people just need that one compliment from that one person, and they're set, which is honestly good for him and kind of valid. Obviously, the big match of this movie against Team Z, which is Isagi's team, all the matches are kind of like summarized pretty quickly with Nagi slowly just finding a fire within himself and how he sees about soccer. I will say Nagi and Isagi as like main characters is just so funny to me because they're so incredibly different. Nagi is literally so chill the whole entire time. He's just like, whatever, like this soccer thing, I'm just slowly trying to figure it out, like whatever. But Isagi is literally like monologuing to himself. He's just like fighting. He's just like, oh my god, these puzzles, I need to find a missing piece. This is my skill. Like, I'm gonna destroy myself in order to make this work. And like to some point, I was just like, Isagi, baby girl, you talk too much. Just kind of do. While Nagi's literally like, no thoughts at all, which I think is kind of funny. And obviously within the fight of Team Z, Nagi is slowly awakened and we kind of see like Ryo somewhat like notice this. This is once again the start of their breakup era, which Nagi is just really fascinated by the fact that like, wow, Team Z is just really trying so hard. Like, why are they trying so hard? He just wants to like literally evolve and like be better for himself. And he discovers that in Isagi. He's just like, you know what? Like, this man like hits different. Like, there is something about this man that like isn't the same. Next thing that happens after this is that they have that selection in which they have to like kick the soccer balls into, you know, the part in the goal, and they have to get into teams of 3 in which obviously like Isagi chooses Bachira, you know, because they're like the boyfriends, and then, you know, Nagi and Ryo is just like also kind of the boyfriends at this point, and Ryo's like, obviously we're gonna be in our team of 3, and Nagi's literally like, hey, I kind of have in mind somebody who I want in my third person, and Ryo's like, who? And then Nagi's just like, I don't want to tell him because like, what if he gets mad? Yeah, because you don't want to tell your boyfriend that you're kind of into somebody else at the moment in the next part. And then so like when Isagi obviously shows up, Nagi asks him like, hey, do you want to join my team? And Isagi's like, I'm not gonna join your team because I have my boyfriend Bachira right here. I'm not gonna abandon him. And then Nagi's just like, all right, I'll just join your team. And Ryo's devastated. He's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And then like, Nagi's just like, you know, like, you want me to be better, right? I'm gonna be better with Isagi. Bye. And he just leave. Literally as he's leaving, Bachira's like, oh, you know, like, Ryo seems kind of sad. Like, is this okay? And then Nagi's literally just like, I mean, I'll miss him. The moment when I was watching that, I was just literally like, a little sad. That man was devastated. Oh, but this is also one of the parts where it's just literally played scene for scene from the anime. So because Isagi and Nagi are in the same team, we're kind of just breezing through like what we've already seen already. We do get a really long monologue about Ryo and his breakup, where he talks about how like, oh, he was so scared of Nagi changing, and now he's changed and there's nothing can be done. Now he's kind of like moving on without him, and like how scared he was of like Nagi changing, and like he just has to accept that. And he wished that he could have just told Nagi to like a proper goodbye, saying, hey, you know, like, go on without me. But he was scared that if he did it like that Nagi would never return back to him. Once again, like really normal Brobo soccer bestie things with no homosexual connotation at all. I swear. So the movie essentially ends where we end in the anime where we see everybody who has made it past the selection, rip Kunigami. But my essential final thoughts is that this movie is perfect for you. If you really like Nagi, if you just like want to seep into that Reo and Nagi angst, if you're desperate for any Blue Lock content, or you've watched like Blue Lock when it was airing and you just kind of wanted to rewatch it for like kind of the hype moments to prepare for the next season, because that's kind of what it was giving. Like for me specifically, because I watched Blue Lock a few days ago, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of like really repetitive to me, but I still thought it was a fun watch, you know. I kind of also enjoyed the shipping aspects. Basically, this movie could have really just been an OVA, but at the end, they do give you a little bit more just so that they kind of reward you for sitting through this essentially what is a recap movie. At the end, even more spoiler, like actually spoilers, because it's not in the anime. We're moving past that at this point. We do see like the beginnings of the fight for like U20. Isagi is in the same team as like Nagi. I'm not really sure what's happening because it seems like Rio's team is like has his own separate team. Reo, there's a scene with Reo literally just giving like Nagi his gloves, and it was really giving man watches like wife like go away for like a business trip and it's just saying goodbye to him, and I was just like, oh, like it's really, he just feels kind of like sad and desperate. So I'm really hoping that maybe in the next season that like Reo gets his proper character development and kind of is able to stand by himself even more and to separate himself from like Nagi, because you know that the best way to get revenge on your ex-boyfriend that has left you for another man is to prove yourself to be happy and find another man. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my first ever commentary type of video. If you like that, feel free to let me know by liking or commenting and subscribing, obviously. As usual, as you all probably already know, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Delisi. My life is in shambles right now, but if you join the Discord, you'll find out when I'll stream. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!